Hi babies, it's Chloe from the ReiQueer.com and welcome back to the ReiQueer pod. You guys, this is episode 10, huge milestone for us. If you're new here on the pod, my name is Chloe. I'm a Reiki master, equity consultant, community educator, and my whole purpose behind this podcast is providing a personality behind the brand and also a less filtered, less sanitized version of what it looks like to be a person working in the wellness community sector. So for today's episode, I want to introduce another little mini series and I'm gonna call it Do Better Bitch. I'm not gonna lie, this is basically gonna be like 20 minutes of me roasting myself. I feel like I really want to deliver on my promise of transparency and just showing y'all the real behind people like me who work in wellness and who are always preaching, so to speak, around wellness and taking care of ourselves. And that's just such a big part about my career and my journey and what I share with others. And so I really want to lift the veil and just be so for real with what's actually happening. And yeah, please book me after this. I promise I'm gonna get it together. This is why I'm doing this. You know, it's sharing and it's accountability.
Well done, mama.
Okay, let's start off strong. My spiritual practice right now, it sucks. I'm not even gonna front. It's not where it needs to be. It's not where it should be. It's not where it has been. And I'm of a couple of minds here. Like, I know that there's no ideal path to walk, and even thinking, oh, I should be doing this or that isn't the most helpful mindset. But I just feel like I know what I'm capable of in terms of feeling connected to myself, feeling connected to my team, those around me, both here and on the other side. And I feel like I'm just not doing any of those things. I feel like I'm ignoring myself. I'm not really spending enough time with myself. I'm getting so distracted. It be that phone. I'm on that phone all the time. And it's just really hard to focus. Okay. See, and that was me even going out the back door. Like, it's not even like it's hard to focus. I don't know what it is. It just feels really hard to bring myself to take care of myself in that way. What I've been talking a lot about in seminar season and the workshops that I've been doing lately is how self-care is a labor of love, but it's a labor nonetheless. And I feel like right now, because my life is labor intensive in certain ways, like my career is super hands-on, you know, even doing this podcast, it's go, and there's always something to do. And I like it that way, but I feel like I like it that way because I like to distract myself. And I'm really at my best when I can connect with myself a little more and slow down. But I don't know, it just hasn't really felt that accessible to me and possible to me. And it does make me feel kind of like a fraud sometimes because, like, especially when I'm doing Reiki, and I do have a self Reiki practice, but again, I just feel like I could just be so much better with my practice. I could be so much better with my practice and I'm not. And that is something that I am insecure about. But at the same time, it's something that I know I have the power to change, but then I don't. And it's just like this whole cycle. So I don't know. I don't have anything wise to say about this. This is why it's under the Do Better Bitch category. I just got to get on my Zoom and I just got to lock in, and I know I will, but I don't know. Maybe this will help with that accountability. All right, next one, to the surprise of no one, my work-life balance is not very good. In my defense, I do not have a defense. I have nothing to say for myself. I feel like I keep looking for new ways to work more, but it's weird because I guess and it's weird also because I really don't consider myself a workaholic. It's not even that. It's more so that the things I get to do for work, I'm so passionate about it and I feel is so connected to my purpose. It replenishes me. Like, it actually fills me up in that way. I feel alive. I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I feel like when I'm left to my own devices, I don't know. It's just so weird. I feel like I've always had this weird dichotomy where I'm super professional. I'm always on it. I'm always working. Mama is always working. I always have a hustle. I always have something going on. And then when I get a second to myself, I'm like watching cartoons all day long and like doing a lot of partaking in the gardening, like the girlies on TikTok say. And that also makes me feel really bad. And I don't know, I just really struggle with balance overall. It's not even just work-life balance. Anything around balance is very tough for me. I love being all in. I love doing something over and over and over and over and over again, and then never doing it again. I don't know. That's all I have to say about that. I know I can do better with my work-life balance. I do make such an effort though. Like, when I'm done my day job, I'm done. I don't log back in. I don't, check emails okay, that's a lie. I check emails sometimes, but you know what I mean? Like I do disconnect, but I feel like there's just a lot of different parts of my life that just naturally require a lot of time and energy and focus and labor. And that's always what I seem to be drawn to. I'm a Capricorn moon, obviously. If that wasn't obvious that there is a Capricorn placement in the room, there it is. One thing that I struggle with is actually something that I talk a lot about in my workshops, which is called pleasure hoarding, which I understand to be when it doesn't feel safe enough or you just don't feel like you are able to access the full spectrum of your emotions. So instead, you hyper focus on the things that feel really, really good. And obviously, in the interim, that's awesome. You're bringing a lot of joy and pleasure into your life, and I live for that. But at the same time, you're actively ignoring all of the other seats at the table. And I always say, what happens to dirt that gets swept under the rug? It becomes more dirt because it's under the rug. You know what I mean? So it in the long run, it does so much more harm than good to not allow myself to access those tougher feelings or even do those harder tasks. Like I will luxuriate, but I'm not even enjoying it because there's a tab open in my mind that is just constant alarm bells of who I haven't emailed back, who I haven't called back, family issues, all these things that are always running at once. I do feel like my life is extremely overwhelming. And so the only way that I can work through it is by compartmentalizing. So there is a big part of that actually does feel like self-care, but I won't lie, I do struggle with balance. I do like pleasure. I do really hoard those feelings, and that's not always very healthy, but sometimes I don't care. That's just the truth. Okay. So I spoke about this before when I first started this list of humiliating myself. Okay, I'm kidding. I'm not humiliating myself. I am. Wait, no. Wait, hold on. It's vulnerability.
Give her her tens. Give her her tens.
So I spoke a little bit about, this feeling that I've been sort of like ignoring myself. And to circle back to that, one thing that I really need to get it together that is under the do better bitch category is really neglecting my physical. I feel like I am really internal. There's a lot of thinking and processing, and that's a huge part of just my day to day. And I think in general, just a very cerebral person. But I think that I am not doing right by my body in the physical sense. And I know that. And then that just stresses me out because I just feel like I have this finite amount of time while I'm still young to get it together and really take care of my body so that it can take care of me later on. And I just feel like the relationship I have with my physical body could be so much better. I feel like in a lot of ways, I'm straight up neglecting my health. Like I need to get it together. I really do. So that's a big thing. And more as you get older, you realize your body runs the show in terms of your access to the world. Like our body is the tool that we use to access the things that we need and want. And we all at some point will be disabled either by age or by illness. And I don't think it's only in those circumstances that we should be concerned or that we should have a practice of a communication with our body. And I know that. And I just feel like it's just, when people are like, when you know better, you do better. I'm like, what about when you know better and then you're just still not doing better? Oh my God. This is so bad. Okay. The last thing I'm going to talk about is a phrase that I literally just made up, and I'm going to call it guilt gooning. So I don't know about you, but one of the ways that I love to self-flagellate is by really feeling so guilty about things that were genuinely not my fault. It's like my favorite thing to do. It's terrible. I feel like it's equal parts, my upbringing and conditioning, and equal parts just unsubtle parts of my child self that never got that hug from mommy or never got that apology. And then, you have to reckon with those pieces of yourself, right? So I feel like a lot of the times I am okay with feeling guilty to the point where, it's like a self-crucifixion at this point. Like, I don't have to be doing all of that. And, I'll talk it through with my partner and I'll talk it through with my friends. And it's so helpful to be reaffirmed. But at the same time, when you were raised to constantly take responsibility for someone else's emotional instability, it's so hard to break that pattern. And it's so hard to not look at every situation through the lens of what could I have done better, and being hypercritical of yourself. And then if you're not careful, that slips out and you're also hypercritical of those around you. It's a lot to manage. So I do have a lot of grace for myself, but the guilt gooning is really nuts. And then I don't know, I feel like part of it comes back around to just being like self-indulgent in this really twisted way where you are so comfortable with the bad feelings that it's almost like you welcome them. And then I'll find myself celebrating really, really great news. Like, okay, I'll be kind of vulnerable. I got a promotion at work that I really, really wanted, and I'm so grateful for. And that's been in my mind for months and months and months. Like, oh my God, what if I don't get it? What if I don't get it? Obviously I would just find another job, but I didn't want to. I really loved this job. And so when it happened, do you want to know what I started thinking of immediately? Oh my God, like, what if I just die before my contract starts? What if what if I just get hit by a bus tomorrow? And it's like, why do I always have to search for the bad feeling or search for, in my case, the guilt most often? No, I'm not in therapy. Thank you for asking. Anyways, this has been an extremely uncomfortable podcast for me. But at the same time, it does feel super freeing to just talk about all the thoughts that have been plaguing my mind and to just show up 100% as my whole self on here. That actually means so much to me to be able to actually do that and be authentic and be honest. And this is the whole reason that I wanted to do this podcast, because I don't want to put on a mask and I don't want to present myself as anything other than the full spectrum of my human experience. So here it is. If you like this podcast, please leave us a rating or a like or a comment. Subscribe to our YouTube. Let us know how we're doing. I'd love to hear. You can read my accompanying blog piece at ReiQueer.com, and you can also head there for any inquiries about services to find out what it is that I do or any events coming up. You could also follow our Instagram at ReiQueer, same handle on YouTube as well. All right, until next time, bye everyone.